nothing is ever completely black or white.
Right.
And we have, like with other technology introductions, we need to figure out a way to live with it and live with it well, right? Even phone uses or video games, we've all had to create sort of balance in our life to make sure that we can enjoy those things, but then we don't get completely sucked in. What we've seen with other technological revolutions is that this is part of the process of adoption. We figure out what it does, and we also figure out what it doesn't do. And as with anything, there's like a sort of responsible, healthy use of it, and then there are things that are maybe not so healthy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Security Financial Management.
Welcome back, Best Advice Podcast, guys. I'm your host, Rob Lavalio, here with the partners of Security Financial Management and Mitchell Walk, Dave Allen, Frank Lavalio. We have a great surprise for you guys again. Welcoming back the legend, Kara Murphy, CIO, Kestra Holdings. Kara, thank you for coming back.
More about the markets now with Kara Murphy, Chief Investment Officer at Kestra Investment Management.
You know, I've been in this business for a long time, and I find markets incredibly interesting. We wake up every morning, we want to find out what's happening in markets. We want to think about portfolios. So is this a huge change? Yes. This is the end of the era of free trade.
We're our first guest to come back, or we've asked to come back. So,
oh, fabulous. I'm glad I made it.
Rob, what is CIO?
Chief Investment Officer.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's right.
Chief Investment Officer. It's a big position.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about AI, which everyone wants to talk about. We're going to be talking about how it's affecting our market, our economy, and most importantly, our everyday life. So let's start there with our everyday life. There's a lot of nerves and society about what does this look like. Kara, what does this look like?
Well, I knew we had turned a corner when it comes to AI when I was having pancakes at a diner with my mom in New Jersey, and she was downloading ChatGPT so that she could get new book recommendations. Wow. I was like, okay. And the fact is, as of August this past year, so just a couple months ago, there were 700 million ChatGPT users. That's 9% of the world's population. That said, so we're seeing like usage is pervasive. That said, we're still really early days. We're very much in the experimentation phase where people are just trying things out and seeing what works. But we still haven't gotten to the point where people have really incorporated it into workflows in order to find efficiencies. And that's really the holy grail with AI.
And I love that people at that age, 75 plus are using it. That's really cool because you think of, AI as kind of younger stuff, at least your first thought is, but that's so great that people 75 plus, or this seminar yesterday that for a lot of Mitch's clients, and that one lady was like 80 years old talking about how she uses ChatGPT all the time. I think that's cool.
It is fascinating. And I think it also shows just how accessible these tools are, right? You don't have to have a lot of technical proficiency in order to get on ChatGPT and get like some usage out of it. Yeah.
Push the button and talk.
Yeah. You don't even have to type if you don't want to.
Or type it in, either way. But like the lady that was there yesterday, she was 80 something, and how easy was it for her? You go to your phone, touch ChatGPT, say whatever you want. I mean, I did it the other day. I've only had it on for a month. So my son Mitch has used it for a long time.
Kids download it.
But I had it in New York, and I was looking at a plant, and the plant wasn't doing real good. And I'm thinking,
you got to water it, Dave.
Stay thirsty, my friend.
No, it wasn't. It was and I went like that, and I took a picture of it, and ChatGPT came back up and said, you need to put some more fertilizer on this. They gave me the name of the tree, and he goes, by the way, the tree behind it is such and such, and it doesn't look that healthy either. Would you like to know?
Now the guy walking by needs an appendectomy.
The guy behind could lose a couple.
Here's the diet plan for the guy that just walked by.
They're working out with AI for medicine now on surgery.
Crazy.
And diagnosing illnesses. So it's going to take over the world. Yeah.
It's a little scary, actually.
Well, they're driving cars. The auto cars.
Well, look, anytime we have a big new technology or a big change, it's natural for people to be fearful of it. And we're also hearing more about that, right? Where it's not being used in correct ways. People are sort of expecting it to do things like be my friend or be my therapist, right? And so we're naturally coming on the sort of confines of what AI can and should do.
But when it doesn't become live and become your friend, and that's
scary side of it.
But I will say what we've seen with other technological revolutions is that this is part of the process of adoption. We figure out what it does, and we also figure out what it doesn't do. And as with anything, there's like a sort of responsible, healthy use of it. And then there are things that are maybe not so healthy to use it for.
I think like the internet, I think we kind of find out, right? So you have this great technology, it makes its run, and then you're like, okay, these uses are not good. And I think we sort of evolved into making it great, right?
Yes.
It's not perfect, but anything that has that explosive, something explosive in the good use could have something equally as kind of concerning. So hopefully we bat out the bad stuff. And
What is some of the bad stuff, Kara, that you're seeing, especially in the investment world?
So I think it's like overuse of it, right? Relying on it too much. And so, for instance, specifically in the investment world, I get asked about this a lot. Like, when is AI going to be able to be used for picking stocks? And there's some big money being put behind this, and they're like fine tuning these models. But so far, the evidence suggests that those models are still not as good as just buying the market. So it suggests that we still have a long way to do. And then I also describe it as a bit of an arms race, because if you have one investor who's like using AI and they're getting better at picking stocks, somebody else is going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to invest in AI and start picking stocks, right? And so they're sort of competing against each other. So so we'll certainly become like part of the process, but I don't think it can ever be the real driver, because you're just then competing away all those things.
Cybersecurity is going to have to step up, right?
Huge impact. And so this is something people are only beginning to think about as they use things like ChatGPT, right? I know people who have been uploading, say, like an MRI report, tell me what this means, but then that's potentially in the public domain. So we need to be really careful.
I had a question I thought would be good in preparation for this, because we got our expert with us. You hear this all the time. I think Dave and I have talked about it, and Mitch as well, is, some of the questions we get when people come in to do, financial advisory stuff. Well, Frank, why don't I just sell my core and just buy like these hot AI stocks? And I know small cap, talk about diversification and why it's probably not the best idea unless you picked NVIDIA 10 years ago. That probably would have been a good idea, but that's catching it on Monday morning on Sunday's game. Tell us about why it doesn't make perfect sense to go sell all your stuff and go buy the hot AI stuff.
And so often there's a sort of maxim on Wall Street that if we're talking about it, the opportunity is already gone.
Right. It's already late.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were looking at these numbers yesterday, but NVIDIA is over 900% in the last 2.5 years. I mean, just absolutely extraordinary. And there are good reasons, right? They're the ones who make the chips that power the AI. But what we're starting to see is the market distinguish between what's happened, right? We know that there's this huge demand for AI chips and what is going to happen.
Right, the future.
So the market moves on the future.
Right.
And so what we're starting to see is companies now who are further down that AI food chain, say, for instance, the companies that are actually making the equipment that powers the AI. And then, of course, companies that are figuring out how to use AI to be more efficient. Right. So we're starting to see the market kind of turn its head to these other uses.
Right.
And the fact is, I've been through a lot of cycles at this point.
Yeah.
And I've seen how people can get really excited about a particular theme, and then just a little bit of the story will change, and then the air kind of comes out of those names. And that's really why you need to own a diversified portfolio.
Right.
Well, you talked yesterday about that in the tech times. We had AOL.
Yeah.
They're not the stock to own anymore, and Nokia.
Nokia was the phone.
The phone everybody had. It's like BlackBerry. So it's all it's all changed. So the future's now, but the future will keep changing.
It feels like it came on so fast.
Yes.
Right? Like you were talking about how long it took Barbie, right, to sell art. Right. And how long TikTok took, right?
Right.
And the difference between ChatGPT and all the other huge companies and changed everyone's life. What we felt like overnight, but this was really overnight.
Yeah.
Really fast.
Where does that money come from? There's got to be money behind it, right?
Yeah.
Huge amounts of money.
What does that mean to the economy?
Yeah.
What is that doing for it?
Yeah. So to your point, like the public version of ChatGPT was released in, I think, March of 2023.
That was free, right?
There's still a free version.
Okay,
Yeah.
You can pay for something.
And then as of August, we get to 700 million users, right? To your point, like we haven't seen adoption like this. So this is clearly accelerating. And I liken this as like sort of a gold rush where you have companies that are sort of at the forefront of it, that are seeing what's possible, and they're saying, we're going to get as much money as we can and spend it. So for instance, we talked about hyperscalers. So companies that are at the forefront of building these AI models and distributing them. collectively, it's 5 companies, are looking at spending $360 billion this year. This year.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, right now. And I think we can assume that next year will probably be higher based on the trends that we're seeing. But again, that money has to be spent somewhere, right? And so that's going to other companies in other areas of the economy. And I think we're in manufacturing, for instance, we're starting to see a little bit of an uptick in activity. Some of that is likely driven by these $360 billion that are getting spent.
But you mentioned something yesterday. Another question that came to my mind I thought would be helpful for you to answer is, out of all that money that's being spent, I think it was like 4 or 5% where they're actually seeing positive returns, right? Where it's actually working, right?
Yeah, and so this is the sobering part of the story, where you have tons and tons of companies around the U.S. and around the world who are deploying AI and trying to figure out how to use it.
Right.
But of all these companies surveyed, in this one particular survey we were looking at, only 5% of companies surveyed had deployed what they call task generative AI. So that's AI to do a particular thing. And actually seen a return.
Money, right. So you got, what did you say, $400 billion being spent?
Yeah.
And, when you look at only 4 or 5%, it's making money. So that means, 400 billion didn't make money, right?
Yes, it's a lot. Now they might in the future, but it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time.
When you yesterday were saying that most of the major firms know they need AI and they're implementing it, but still don't know.
We don't know what we're going to do with it.
100%.
What are we going to use
that
it
was
for?
fun.
We don't know, but we want it.
Yeah. And so again, like if you look at, for instance, company transcripts, the number of companies who are talking about AI, it's just up and to the right. More and more companies are being very open about their sort of experimentation with AI, but we are still experimenting. Yeah. We're still trying to figure out how it's going to drive better bottom line results.
Yeah. It's interesting. And then I'm probably taking over your job because I feel like I knew what happened. But the last thing I wanted to kind of have you comment on, which I think is fascinating, is how all this AI is so technical. Everyone's getting so smart. We got all this technology, but we talked about what people really need is what I think that's important.
So I'm a big believer in relationships and getting to know people. And the more that we engage with technology and technology takes over certain tasks, actually the more important that these human interactions become, right? Like sitting around with you guys, like this is so fun. Yeah. I would trade a lot, right? To be able to hang out with you guys and chat like this.
Too.
And so we need to make sure, I'm a mom of 3 kids. And so I think a lot about this. We need to make sure that they're prioritizing those relationships and those conversations. And if you're able to do that, if you're able to have a relationship and care about other people, you're actually at a huge advantage.
Absolutely.
Right? Because there are a lot of people who are not taking advantage of it.
It's all glued to their
Well, I give an example with Rob, right? Because he's sitting here and it's super fast. But when I dated, right, Dave and Mitch, when we were young men, and I won't say her last name because Dave knows her because we go way back as good buddies. But there was this girl, Lori, and I'm like, Lori, I called her dad, Mr. E. I'll call her. This is Frank Lavaglio. I'd like to take Lori
right?
to the dance. Dave knows Lori. She's a pretty girl. I was like 15, and I had to call her dad, and her dad goes, Frank, tell me what your dad does. Well, he's an engineer at Harris Corporation. And he kind of gave me a quick little interview. Yeah. And I was 15, like, he's an engineer. He went to Manhattan College. I'm like, what's going on? So Lori. And at the end of it, now I play it forward, now I've got a son, 15, and I'm in the car with him riding around. Dad had been driving. He's texting somebody. And I go, what are you doing? He goes, take a left here, Dad, on Palmer. I'm going to pick up, Julie. I go, what do you mean? She goes, we're gonna go to a movie. And she runs out the back door. No Mr. E, no interview. Yeah. That's technology, right? So it's like, is that good or bad?
Well, it's both, right? Nothing is ever completely black or white.
Right.
And we have, like with other technology introductions, we need to figure out a way to live with it and live with it well, right? Even phone uses or video games. We've all had to create sort of balance in our life to make sure that we can enjoy those things, but then we don't get completely sucked in.
Right.
Well, you go to a restaurant, go to the dinner,
sure.
And look at tables. There's 4 people sitting there, and they're all on their phones,
right?
Not talking to each other.
It drives me crazy.
They're looking at stuff on their phones.
I just saw in the news this morning that it was a school, I think it was in Kentucky, that has put a software package that puts boundaries on the school. So once you enter that zone, your phone no longer works. So no students have any access to any cell phone, turns them off, and when they leave for the day, it can turn back.
Oh, that's
That's
great.
brilliant.
But even if it's in their pocket,
Great
there's no use.
technology.
That's brilliant.
That's great technology.
Every time there's an advancement in the world, right, there's always a couple steps back you take, right? Learning it, figuring out how we want to use it. And I think that people are just so excited about it right now that like they don't understand, like we have a long way to go. And there's a lot of other places in the market that are going to statistically come back up or be like the competitive advantage for people's portfolios maybe. Misconception that AI is here and it's just a one stop and everything's good.
We're at dial-up internet now.
Yeah, like
Right, yes.
We're at dial-up internet
Yes.
versus on fiber optics.
when you adopt new technology, right, you always take a couple steps back to figure out, is there an adoption period of how to use it? Right?
Yeah.
And you're going to be slower at the beginning until you figure that out. And I think we have a long way to go before these companies start figuring out. I remember there was some statistics you talked about where like 90% of companies were talking about implementing, but only 5% did after they like reviewed it. Like, can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, and there's actually a name for this, which is called the Solo paradox. So he's a Nobel Prize winning economist, and he studied the introduction of personal computers in the 70s and 80s and noted that productivity, at least on a grand macroeconomic scale, didn't actually improve until the 90s.
Wow. So
That meant that we needed like 10, 15 years to actually adopt personal computers. And the reason why was because a lot of what you're alluding to, it takes time. And actually workers were slowed down when they were given a personal computer because they had to figure out how to use it, right? You have to get trained up, you have to get your login, you have to, go from a typewriter to a computer. And so your productivity actually declines for a period of time before it starts to improve. I think the other piece of this is that economic statistics are notoriously bad at picking up these types of productivity, so we may not see it for a while. But I think safe to say, to your point, we're at the dial-up internet stage. Like we still have a ways to go.
Or that picture you said yesterday it came. I remember that.
Yeah.
The internet, the picture where somebody you see like the hair, and the odds. You take about 5 minutes. You're like, man, this is cool.
And ChatGPT is still doing that.
Yeah.
I asked for an image the other day and had never done it before. And it took about 2 to 3 minutes. And it
It said so many people are doing this at this time. Be patient. Be patient.
Yeah.
But one last thing, we always want to let people know that with every good invention that's going on here, there's a lot of bad people that are going to try to take advantage of it too. There's people that can completely imitate a client's voice. Mm-hmm. So we're very, very conscious of that and aware that what we're hearing may not be real.
Yeah.
So we've gotten to the point where we're thinking about implementing some kind of code word,
Right.
Like what you have with your security system,
Yes.
when they say, what's your code word? And you say, R2D2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, the things that look real, like a DocuSign. And we sign DocuSigns all the time. And every once in a while I get one that looks like it's real. Oh, I'm going to click on it. Well, it's not a real one.
It's fake. Careful.
So you've got to be so aware because there's a lot of people that want your money
Sure.
and didn't earn it. And they think it's theirs.
Yeah,
And they think they're doing work
Yeah.
by stealing your money.
Yeah, and that they're just at a regular job.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about. Try to make sure it's always hard to be a step ahead, but as Dave said, the code word, we are trying to figure out what can we do to protect the clients. First, we've verbally talked to them. Mm-hmm. But now with AI, your point, that may not be the verbal person. So we're all thinking about that from our end.
If you look at the whole strike from the actors in LA, right? They were basically AIing the actors to say, I don't need to hire you anymore. I can make an actor look just like you, sound just like you, and use your charismatic moves, and no one's going to notice. So all the actors were like, we're not letting you use my face. This is my face. Like,
Yeah.
But technically, they got one video of them. You can.
It's like the NIL of acting.
Yeah.
The NIL. Well, we could talk forever. To kind of close, is we're so fortunate to have Kara come down and as CIO of a $100 billion company, Kestra Financial, spend time in Florida. All the clients just love Kara. Kara's got the highly intelligent, but also nice. And I like nice.
Very nice. Gotta be nice. It's a requirement.
So we're happy to have you. Thanks for spending time with us.
It was so great to see you guys.
We can't wait to have you back.
Thank you.
And as always, we're going to leave the link in the description for you. If you want to talk to any of our senior advisors, we'd love to talk to you. Give us a call if you want more information. And remember, folks, it's not what you're in, it's what you keep. Happy days, everybody.
This podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only and is not intended as personal financial advice. Before making any financial decision, please do your own research and consult a financial advisor as needed.